It's definitely confirmed. I am Drake. Drake is me. We are the same fucking guy because I think I have cursed every team that I watch. Unintentionally. I don't do it on purpose. It's not like I want this to happen. But I decided last game, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to heel turn this thing. I'm only going to say nice things about the Canadians today. And I was hyping up Carey Price all day long. And I was talking about how Kotkaniemi's going to come back and have a hat trick and the team's going to be great. And I don't think the Leafs actually have a chance because they're just so much more physical than we are. Sure enough, here we are. Leafs tied the series up 1-1. So I think I might be Drake. The Drake curse is well and alive with me because, like, the Leafs have never won when I'm alive. The Jays have never won when I'm alive. The Panthers have never won when I'm alive, and I'm not a basketball fan, so I can't claim the Raptors. I think I'm just Drake. Does that make sense?
I mean, if you feel that way, I'm
I
sorry
kind of feel
that
it.
you feel responsible.
I kind of feel it.
As some of those fans, like as a Blue Jays fan, I would just appreciate it. Maybe you'd stop watching them then, so that
I think I might have to start cheering for the Rays because holy shit!
If you can sacrifice that for us.
Yeah,
be the bigger person so we can see a championship.
I might have to do it with the Leafs too. I might just like heel turn and I still wore my Leaf gear. I'm not out here telling you that I'm like, I'm cheering for the Canadians. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't have that in me. But I did, however, talk a lot of positive things about Carey Price, and I'm going to continue to do that this episode.
So
I will not jinx the shit out of this game anymore.
Game 1, I was not confident.
No.
Game 2,
I was too confident.
Yeah, game 1 you might have been too confident, but game 1 I was not.
No,
and game 2, yeah, and then game 2 it was a whole different story. I think I said 6-1 at one point.
Game 1 hurt me mentally, physically, emotionally.
It hurt
just
everybody.
Because obviously the game sucked. Whatever. The John Tavares injury was one of the worst things I've ever watched in a sporting event in my life. I haven't been around that long. I'll be 25 in a month. But in terms of things I've seen on the ice and just injuries in general, like it compared to almost like the Ryan Shazier thing and the way he went down and how it looked like visually, like it just looked terrible. And watching him try and get up and just like crumble to the ground with his eyes rolling back in his head and the blood spewing down his face and all that, it was not a good look. And like, I could not get into the rest of that game. It was just painful to watch. Like I didn't even have to play in the game, just painful to watch.
Oh man, it's definitely scary to watch somebody especially with a head injury, in today's game, right? I remember actually watching the highlights of Todd Bertuzzi when he threw that punch, and it didn't look as bad.
It wasn't a horrific looking injury
because there was so much of a pileup afterwards.
Yeah.
And it was like so much chaos that ensued immediately afterwards. Instead of just like, that arena could have been filled with people, or as empty as it was, it still would have been silent.
Yeah.
Nobody would have made a sound, and
you could have heard a pin drop no matter how many people were in that building.
It was absolutely the toughest. Yeah. One of the toughest injuries within recent history to remember. Right.
Yeah. Now, immediately following that incident, obviously, was the Nick Felino and Corey Perry fight. Say what you want about the fight. I think it takes away the gray area from the whole thing. Like whether or not you believe Corey Perry did it on purpose does not matter. Everyone's going to have their own opinion on Corey Perry, the player, Corey Perry, the person, and then Corey Perry in that situation and what happened. Does not matter what your opinion is. Bottom line is Nick Felino didn't like what happened. Corey Perry agreed to the fact that they should just get it out of the way with and move on from there. I think that's fine. I think Corey Perry has nothing left to answer for in this series, and I think you saw it last game. There's nothing left that Corey Perry needs to answer for. He answered it. It's fine. None of the Leafs are upset about it. None of the Habs are upset about it. You move on from that. I don't think there shouldn't have been much of a discussion about the fight, personally.
No, and I heard something about like him not trying to get out of the way, but if he tries to make a different move, it could be a worse injury for John Tavares, and it could be, it could be there's potential for something else to go wrong for me. So like I didn't so like fast, it, but it's so fast.
I know.
When you watch it,
but
like it's too hard to do anything, and for Corey Perry to not move, like for me, I don't want to cause further damage. Like, what if he decides like to jump for some dumb reason, right? Like, oh, I'm going to hurdle.
Well, I think that's kind of what he tried to do, is jump out of the way. I don't really need to get into the debate on whether or not someone thinks it is or isn't on purpose. I just know personally in that situation, I've been in that moment, and you see a guy go down in front of you and you're like, well, I could try and get out of the way, but why? Right? Like, I don't think Corey Perry tried to hurt John Tavares at all. I don't have any ill will towards Corey Perry. But you can't say that he was like, oh, he tried to get out of the way. Like, he didn't, because I know I would.
Kind of went through, and I feel like he didn't really expect any of that to happen.
He didn't want that to happen. I don't think that's what his goal was, but his goal wasn't to get out of the way of that. He wanted him to know he was there. And I understand that because I've done it. And I know lots of people that would do the same thing. It's not just Corey Perry. It's 90% of hockey players. They see a guy down there. They're not going to try and get out of his way. They're going to go through him. They're going to make it hurt, but they're not trying to do what happened to John Tavares there. I don't blame Corey Perry for what he did. I think he answered the bell perfectly, and I think that's it. That should be it the rest of the series. Now, I don't like what Ben Sherratt did, and I don't like Ben Sherratt in the series at all, but I think the whole thing with Corey Perry is dead. Then, obviously, the rest of the game, I really don't think we have much to talk about because once you lose arguably your third best player and your second line center, you're not winning that game. In the first period, 10 minutes in, like you're not. It was an emotionally tough thing to come back from because the injury was so brutal. And now you're down a man to a good team in the Montreal Canadiens. They're deep and they can play you well in every line. If you're short a man, your guys are already going to be tired. You're not winning that game. They didn't pull back from that. They couldn't win that game. It's whatever.
Carey Price was just looking too stout in that game, and Matthews hit the post a couple of times. Everything that he shot wasn't going by Price in that first game, right? And you could just tell that. And Jack Campbell unfortunately had no clutch save there, which kind of surprised me.
You would have liked to seen him make a different play on the Byron one, I think.
And it just really surprises me that he would get the second game because both of those saves are really tough, but. Even still, right, with a healthy Frederik Andersen, who you've kind of claimed as your goalie, those two saves are really bad, right? Those are really bad opportunities, especially
he made some big saves, like on the breakaway with Josh Anderson, on the breakaway with Thomas Tatar. There were a couple that he kept them in that game. And realistically, I don't think you make any rash decisions based on that game. I think the Riley Nash decision to take him out of the lineup was the perfect decision because you don't need defense against this team right now. The issue isn't that they can't stop them, because Montreal's offense isn't very good, even when they have all their big guys in. So I think you're looking more towards scoring, and Riley Nash cannot help you score, no matter how hard he tries.
Too. That's one thing to notice, right? Is Brendan Gallagher is now part of that top six again, and they're putting in Cole Caulfield for this game.
Yep,
who's going to be a different speed.
We'll get to Cole in a minute.
And it's just that first game though, they really didn't show that they were scared. Both teams were hitting though, which was good to see. And both teams were not backing down from anything in front of the net.
The 55-24 hit counter that got put up for that game, that's a joke. The Montreal Canadiens were on the power play for 10 minutes of the game, right? So then you take away 10 minutes from 60. You have 50 minutes of gameplay. You're telling me the Montreal Canadiens hit the Leafs more than once a minute? Come on, man. They had the puck more than that. Don't give me that. That was such garbage. I'm 55? Come on. There were games that went into double overtime that didn't have that many hits, and you're going to tell me the Montreal Canadiens just bruised their way into that? I'm you're double counting here. It's brutal. So game 2 comes around. Game 2 was a hell of a lot better as a Leaf fan. Holy shit. Didn't open too hot. Jesperi Kotkaniemi doing what he should do. Came out there, scored a goal. Gave the group up top a 4, and it created so many memes because by the end of the game, the Montreal Canadiens lost by 4. So everybody was joking about how
that kind of reminds me of the Richard Sherman.
Yeah,
when he showed against the Patriots.
Yeah,
and then everybody made that into a meme after. Yeah,
don't taunt someone until it's guaranteed. I know that was for his guys upstairs, and it's fine, it's whatever. But don't do that early in a game. It's tough
when all eyes are on
you.
It's
really tough. You hate to see that. So the Leafs look really good. I know Montreal Canadiens fans are bitching about the refs, and I don't even get it. The game was fairly officiated, I would say. Yes, they missed a couple. I think the Hyman one, maybe you call boarding, but I don't think there was enough there full speed to call it a penalty. Wayne Simmons had a couple that you could have called, but they're behind the play, and it's the exact same thing Edmondson and Sherratt are doing. So if they're going to call Simmons on those, they're going to call Sherratt and Edmondson for the stuff they did. And it's just, I think all the little things didn't get called, but the blatantly obvious ones, like the Gallagher cross check to Brody's head, or the Kaniemi one where he snaps his stick over Riley's chest. You can't not call those. And so it gave the Leafs the power plays. And then you have the brutal coaches challenge from Dominic Ducharme, who seems to be a Leaf fan at this point. There's nothing there. And they call for the review for goalie interference. And obviously you're going to get a penalty for that because there's no goalie interference there. And I haven't seen a single Canadiens fan that would disagree with that. So it's like, yeah, you can cry wolf all you want about how the league is biased towards the Leafs and the refs are in the Leafs' favor, but like they really aren't. And like they let a lot of stuff go on both sides. It's not really that. It's not one way. My opinion, anyways.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. But with so much opportunity that the Leafs were given, it was nice to finally see Rasmus Sandin figure out what he should be doing from that point position.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was so nice finally, because I'd actually just messaged my buddies and been like, man, I think he needs to move off this PB, especially if he's not going to be firing away. And sure enough, he walks into one, and that's exactly what you want to see.
I think the commentators were saying the same thing, right? It was just like, well, you're not getting anything out of the point right now. Like, there's no point shot.
Looking to shoot. He's pulling a Marner type of move. Which he's looking to pass at first.
I really like that. I don't think Rasmus. Like, I think you get the once in a couple power play opportunity that Sandin had, and he knew it. But I think your primary look should be to give it to that guy that has 42 goals this year.
Absolutely. But if you're consistently going this way, then I feel like in the playoffs, especially at the beginning, in the first couple games, just fire away. Like pucks on net is going to get you more goals and trying to set up this.
I agree to an extent, but like if the options are Austin Matthews and his 40 goal abilities or Rasmus Sandin and his 5 goal ability, I'm going to let Matthews shoot all day until there's a better opportunity for Rasmus Sandin. And I think he played it perfectly because he just kept making them think that he's going to go back to Austin. And finally, they went to Austin, and it left this wide open lane. And I think that's when you take your opportunity. And Sandin did that perfectly. I think Morgan Riley does that just as well, but he doesn't have the shot that Sandin has, so it's fine that he's on PP2. I liked everything about the Leafs game in that one. I think the Felino, Nylander, Gouch line looked great. I think Gouch getting inserted back to the lineup is perfect.
He was meant to be there too, right? Like that,
it just works.
Flexibility. Nick Felino in center position too.
It's great. It's where he should be.
It was amazing. Yeah, I hope that he's able to continue that success. That's going to be huge for them.
Yeah, they were great. The Engvall Kerfoot Mikheyev line was fantastic. Could not do anything with the puck, but they were just fantastic. They were everywhere. It's awful. They're good, but they were fantastic. Like I had no complaints. Like I don't like 2/3 of that line. I don't think they deserve to be in the lineup, and they were the best line. It's insane.
They keep chugging, man.
They just do their job, and they don't get scored on, and they don't let the puck into their own end. And it was great. Kerfoot got rewarded with that empty net goal. Kerfoot, I thought was probably the best Leaf on the ice for the majority of that game. It was just great. He's literally Nazem Kadri light. And he's not suspended, so it's great. Imagine Nazem Kadri if he went to Harvard. That's what Alex Kerfoot is. It's great.
It's nice to see some success in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. Matthews got back on the board. That's huge. Game 3 goes tonight. They, as you mentioned, the Montreal Canadiens slotted Cole Caulfield back in the lineup. Their initial plan was to take Thomas Tatar out of the lineup, which I think is hilarious, but he was arguably their best forward last game and they were going to take him out. But Eric Stahl got hurt in practice or just got hurt in general. I'm not 100% sure, but Eric Stahl is now out of the lineup, which should have been the move to begin with. But hey, who are I to say?
I think it's tough to put Eric Stahl out, especially because you made such
you made that trade. It's an asset management. It makes yourself look better.
In a real corner, if you all of a sudden sit him and deem him not playable without an injury, but now he's got the injury, so that's great.
You almost feel like Eric Stahl's like, dude, you're making the wrong move here. My leg.
Yeah, but I don't think that bringing in Cole Caulfield, especially against a team like the Maple Leafs, is going to be this game changing.
I doubt it because he's a rookie, and it's really tough to play playoff hockey now as a rookie. Like it's a completely different feeling. I guess it's a little different because there's no fans. But
there will be some.
Game
not
6.
Yet,
Game 6.
Game 6.
But, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. He's been off for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, whatever it is now.
He's gonna be fast for sure, and there's gonna be some raw talent there. But the playoff hockey the Leafs are playing right now, he's going
this
to be
rivalry in general right now
he's
has
going to be a
ramped
little
up.
bit intimidated. Yeah, exactly. Like they throw hits, okay, whether they're going to count them or not, they're in your face and they're finishing checks and they're just making their presence known, right? Even if you kind of tap them or not, then
they're not afraid to push you around if you're 5'8" or 5'7" or whatever he is. Like, it's going to be tough. I think I worry about Cole Caulfield because he has ridiculous goal scoring ability and he's really going to help that power play, especially with Kotkaniemi in the lineup. And I'm worried about him there, but I don't know how much he benefits you as a whole. It'll be interesting. I think this is almost the best lineup that the Canadians could put out there. I think the fact that Alex Romanoff still isn't in the lineup is an absolute joke, but they have John Merrill out there for some reason. But what do I know? I think that's the best lineup they could put out.
Kind of really going by this grit identity and this big body gonna push you around too, right? They're trying to.
They're not going to score ever, but they're big.
No, but they're hoping that Josh Anderson continues to find some luck. Some places, and now like Cole Caulfield, like he had some overtime goals for sure, but you're not getting 3-on-3 opportunity anymore, right? You're playing 5-on-5 for the pretty well the whole game, unless there's some power play time or penalty kill time. So.
I think he helps, and I think he's going to be a bit of an injection into that lineup. It should be an interesting game in that regard. I don't know if it makes a big enough difference for them to win the series, but Carey Price exists, and I will no longer say anything bad about Carey Price because clearly playoff Carey Price has that in him from time to time. And at any point in time, he can steal 4 games this series. I wouldn't be shocked.
It's funny how you can kind of see it in the way Carey Price is in net at the beginning of the game, like whether or not it's going to be. Yeah,
it's a different human.
Kind of get this demeanor about him that you kind of know whether it's going to be the Carey Price or whether it's just going to be like the Carey
this year's Carey Price.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And game 1, he definitely had that confidence. Game 2 really was tough to maintain that, and he wasn't able to. And then game 3 is really going to be the which Carey Price you're going to see, because I feel like if you give the lead to the Leafs, you're never going to see that again.
It's really tough for the Montreal Canadiens to come back against the Leafs because the Leafs have the puck all the time.
Yeah,
and the Canadians don't really have that offensive like weapon that they can just be like, I do.
They get chances for sure. Like they're, I'm not saying that every game's going to be a blowout. There
no,
could be some overtime games.
They're tight games every time we play them.
Yeah, but right now, Austin Matthews has shown that he's willing to just figure it out in game and continue to find different ways to put the puck on net, and he's going to get chances, right? Like, what did he do? He gave it off to Hall. Hall went in, shot low pad, and Matthews just continued to drive the net.
The quickness at which he put that off the pad and in the net was unbelievable.
He knew it was happening, though, and Hall knew it was happening. It was not a high shot. It was not going for top corner so that the puck goes way over the net and around, and then it's
perfectly designed play.
It was low pad, and it was right to Matthews, who was still burning for the front of the net, right? He did that on purpose. That's not something that just happened. That's not just dumb luck, right? Those two understood that was the play, and Matthews is going to find more ways to get looks in front of the net. And even on the power play, like you said, right, if they keep going to him, eventually he's going to
score. If you let him take 7 shots, he's going to score one of them.
But but they float somebody with him, right? So that's difficult. So maybe giving him different looks, moving around in different ways to get that defense, that power or that penalty kill moving and out of position.
Power play has been great. I really don't have much complaints about the power play so far. They look way better than they did in the season. They're taking a hell of a lot more shots. They're just putting pucks on net, and that's what you have to do. And it's what they refused to do for like a month and a half. That's pretty much it from the Canadians and Leafs series. By the time I release this, the game will be over. So hopefully the Leafs are up 2-1. Actually, you know what? Hopefully the Canadians are up 2-1. I got to reverse that one. Go Habs. Go Carey Price. Best goalie on the planet.
He sits there in his blue and white.
Hey, my hat's got red on it.
His 29 blue and white.
Yeah. Hey, old school Nylander, gotta love it. The other Canadian series,
You know what's funny, though? By the time you release this, Edmonton could already be kicked out of the playoffs, too.
Dude, what the hell is going on?
No, there's no way that last night anybody felt that game was over, okay? Nobody in their right mind thought that the 3-goal lead was safe.
I mean, I might have.
No,
I didn't make a graphic for the Jets because I figured it was done. I'm like, all right, cool. The Oilers are going to get on the board. And the next thing you know,
you were wrong.
I was so wrong.
Edmonton is the definition of a 3-goal lead is the worst goal in hockey.
Yeah.
Or the worst lead.
Supposed to be 2, but they're like, yeah, no, 3. We don't want 3.
No.
Thank
3
you
is always bad.
so much.
So bad.
Thank you so much to the Edmonton Oilers for taking the onus off of the Toronto Maple Leafs for being the team that blew the 4-1 lead. At least we did it in Game 7. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Now that just takes away the one of the only 4 stupid chirps that people throw at the Leafs. What a weird series, man. I had Edmonton dominating this series, and it's been the complete other way around.
They shut down Connor McDavid, and even when they kind of let him with a little bit of space, it wasn't enough, right? They're proving how little depth the Edmonton Oilers have.
Hey, I've had this conversation at least 3 times on this podcast, and I get laughed at every single time, but here we go one more time. The best player in the NHL had 9 points in 4 games this first round. The second best player has 3 points, and they're all in 1 game. Nathan McKinnon's the better player. Sorry. Like, Connor McDavid is great, but when you focus on shutting him down, he's not going to do it, and he can't carry that team. Edmonton fans are turning on him, which is hilarious. But it's just, you've seen it time and time again that Nate McKinnon can do more than Connor McDavid can on the ice. And I fear Nate McKinnon way more than Connor McDavid, and you have nothing left to bring at me because he's dominating them in the playoffs right now.
St. Louis and Winnipeg are really different teams to play against. Winnipeg is dude, St. Louis was like I said, a -1.
Sure, they weren't
and
good.
You're going up against the best scoring team in hockey. Like that was bound to be a sweep, right? They proved exactly
they're good. Colorado's good. They could not stop that line. They had nothing against Nate McKinnon. They couldn't stop him in transition.
But the issue is not Connor McDavid, man. If you look at how many goals that he's sitting on the bench, just
goals again, sure. No, defensively, he's not the problem. The fact that he went scoreless in back-to-back games is a problem. You can't be the best goal scorer of all time or the best point getter of all time and sit there and go over in 2 straight games. That's not a thing. I don't like that.
He's definitely struggling to trust what is behind him, right? And that was shown in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
That was shown in Game 1, Game 2. It's probably going to be shown in Game 4. You know, there's a different pressure in the playoffs, and Winnipeg
they've shown it
getting healthier as well too, right? Like getting Nikolai Ehlers back. He not only started Game 3 with a goal, but then in overtime he finished it right.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's the pressure in the playoffs. I genuinely think the game plan becomes different in the playoffs because, like, in the regular season, you're not killing yourself to try and stop Connor McDavid. Like, it's whatever. It's one game. You take the loss. You move on. Hopefully, he doesn't burn you too bad. In the playoffs, you can focus all of your energy into stopping Connor McDavid, and you let Kyler Yamamoto beat you. Like, if that happens, but it doesn't because it's just the depth is not there for the Oilers. So you come into the playoffs where you can focus solely on Connor McDavid, and yeah, he's fast. But he's not that hard to stop just because of his speed, man. You can let him back you up and just stop him wherever you want it.
Man, like Zach Cassian scored last night. Not a consistent threat, though, right?
No. Like, I'm not worried about Zach Cassian.
Like that, yeah.
If he beats you, he beats you. It's whatever. And then they don't have the defense to back that up.
You know what you should be worried about, though, is Mike Smith facing any kind of shot at all. Because he has shown that if there is any sort of pressure on the line, he cannot put that game away, and he cannot stop a puck. That, like, how easy were some of those saves? Like, how bad is he not trying to fight around screens and just be like this big goalie in net that's not working anymore? His positioning is so off.
You were catching lightning in a bottle with Mike Smith for so long that I think you might be running out at this point.
Winnipeg is throwing chaos in front of him, and he is not moving around any pucks. Right?
I used to really like
the net.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but they have bodies in front of the net, and he's not fighting for it. He's just trying to stay in position and not move around screens.
I used to really like Mike Smith as a goalie. I think he was really good in his prime with Arizona. Like, he carried them to some series wins. But Mike Smith in 2021 isn't a goalie that you can rely on to win things. Unfortunately for them, Mikko Koskinen is definitely not a goalie you want in the net ever. So they're kind of backed into a corner here where their defense isn't good. Darnell Nurse is a turnstile, despite the fact that he puts up a lot of points. Tyson Barrie, I love him to death, but he's not a good defender. And then behind that, they have nothing other than Adam Larson.
They fell victim in the offseason to being tied to a lot of the main goalies, like a lot of the top goalies, and getting none of them.
Got nothing. They got nothing in the offseason. They got Tyson Barrie, and like I love Tyson Barrie, but he was not what they needed.
But Tyson
and they
Barrie
did
is an offensive
nothing.
player, right? Tyson Barrie is very offensive.
Exactly.
That's what everybody knew.
They did nothing at the trade deadline, and there's legitimately a quote from Ken Holland that says you can't go for it every year or something like that. I think was it around the lines of the quote. And like that's coming back to bite him now because if you picked up something, maybe you'd be in this series.
You are wasting away
the second best player in the NHL is just sitting there now.
But
you're giving him nothing.
That's on that team, right? There's no saying that none of them are going to at some point say, "I'm done. I want out." Right?
Why would Connor McDavid want to be there for this?
Right.
What
if
for?
You're not bringing him anything. The dynamic of that team, and the way that franchise operates, and he's not going to want to be there much longer.
There's no reason.
No.
Zero reason for Connor McDavid to be in Edmonton right now. Like, what have you shown him since he's been there that he's I'm cool here?
He has now given you a 100-point season and not even a full 82 season.
And you gave him nothing. Like, literally nothing. It's just brutal. I hope he requests a trade. I would love to see him anywhere else.
You've been successful in one draft besides Connor McDavid.
By accident. I think accidentally you gave him Leon Draisaitl. I don't think they did that on purpose.
No.
It's just brutal. I really hope he has to go out of there, man. Like, it's just brutal. He won't.
I think maybe at the end of his contract, though, I
don't see him re-signing.
No.
Especially if they do nothing by then, there's no reason to come back.
He's still going to be talented enough to be there,
He's still he'd be in his like mid 20s, I think, because he's younger than me, right?
He'd be in his 30s, I thought.
He's my age. Is he my age?
I think he's around your age.
He's 96 or 97?
No, he's 97, dog. He wears 97.
Is that why? So he's 24 now. I think he's
got that little about him, eh? You don't
3 more years. I don't care about the guy.
I gathered that.
The team's irrelevant. I could care less about what Connor McDavid does because the team's irrelevant. When his team gets good, I'd be really worried about Connor McDavid. Until that point, I have no reason to worry about Connor McDavid. I have reason to worry about Nate McKinnon because I think that guy's got a serious chance of putting the Leafs out of the playoffs if they make it that far. That guy's damn good. He can do it. He's got a good team behind him too.
They just need to stay healthy as always.
Yeah, that's the trouble. And, I think Colorado, if they're healthy, wins this cup hands down. They're so good. They're so ridiculous.
You know what though? There's no counting out Vegas, man. What I've seen from Vegas especially Mark.
What I've seen out of Marc-Andre Fleury. Now, what I've seen, the Vegas team as a whole hasn't been good.
Marc-Andre Fleury has been unbelievable. Coming around as well, though. Mark Stone has now decided to.
They had 17 shots in that game against Vegas.
I'm aware.
Minnesota.
It's not been pretty.
In a whole game, a 60-minute game, they had 17 shots. That's awful. But Marc-Andre Fleury is a god. It's crazy, man.
He's locked in.
Yeah, so they go tonight. We'll kind of round up the rest of the series. Colorado obviously won.
Swept it.
They swept the Blues. Thank God. You absolutely hate to see the trashiest human being in the NHL losing in the first round. You hate to see it. It's so tough watching him skate down to the other end of the ice to try and fight other goaltenders. You just hate to see it. Good riddance, you fucking scumbag. That's the one, man. Like, I talk a lot about the Kachucks. I wouldn't hate the Kachucks in person. I would not say a good thing to Jordan Binnington's face. I don't care. I don't even care if he hears it. I'd say it to his face. There's not many. Like, I could talk a lot of shit about NHLers here because it's fun.
Say anything to the Kachucks.
I wouldn't say it. Oh God, no, not a chance. I think the Kachucks are nice guys off the ice, from everything I've heard. Tom Wilson, apparently good guy off the ice. Brad Marchand, I don't even say anything bad about Brad Marchand. But Jordan Binnington, terrible person,
last week,
piece of shit on the ice. Don't like him. Garbage. I'll say it to his face. Trash. So glad he's out in the first round. I cannot stand that Blues team. Robert Bortuzzo's a scumbag.
Ryan O'Reilly did absolutely nothing.
Useless. Useless. They were garbage. I'm so glad they're going home. Get rid of your goalie. I'll like you a little more. Get rid of Bortuzzo too. That guy's a dirtbag. Yeah, thank you. Goodbye. Thanks, Colorado. The next one was who else got eliminated that night? Boston eliminated Washington. I would love to say Boston eliminated Washington. I think Washington eliminated themselves.
Washington looked really rough.
They fell apart. They were fantastic in game 1, fantastic in 58 minutes of game 2, and fantastic in 55 minutes of game 3, and never showed up again. It was like, I don't know what happened. They fell apart in game 2. They fell apart in game 3, and they just never came back.
that top line though started to figure it out for Boston.
Yeah,
They just,
better.
even if they weren't contributing together, they were contributing individually. Like Passa's goal was the absolute just steal, right? That was it. You kind of figured, okay, season is done.
It's
but Zdeno Chara looked absolutely like
he's old,
defeated.
He's old.
He looked like he wanted nothing to do.
Yeah,
with any sort of handshakes.
They were bad, dude. That team was bad. Honestly, if there's any team that needs to blow it up right now, it's the Washington Capitals. It's Ovi's a free agent right now, which is worrisome.
Yeah, but if you're Washington, you don't have him signed beforehand,
especially after that game, it was a game 3 loss where he was screaming at Ilya Samsonov. I think it was game 2 or 3.
Something like that.
You don't like to look at that in your last series and then know that he's a free agent after that series.
You obviously wonder what he was saying, and you wonder what was being.
I don't speak a lot of Russian.
No, so I don't think you speak a lick of Russian.
I don't speak any. Niet Russian. Niet. That's it. So that'll be a real interesting situation to look at moving forward. They're obviously going to lose somebody in that Seattle draft too. So I think if you're losing Ovechkin and say it's TJ Oshie, because apparently like there's a chance they don't protect him. Say it's TJ Oshie. That's 2 pretty core guys of that team that you're losing really quick. I think it might be time to just go another direction and try and rebuild, because you have the guy in Samsonov in the back end that can lock it all down. You build around that, I would think.
The one thing that you are getting though, if both those players are gone, is a lot more cap space, right? So you can be a little more aggressive. And in your Washington, you can probably build a new identity pretty quickly, right? John Carlson and Evgeny Kuznetsov staying there. Anthony Mantha they brought in, who's found success there. I
think Evgeny Kuznetsov's a guy you need to move on from.
Absolutely, but
Evgeny Kuznetsov without cocaine is just not a good hockey player. I don't know what it is. Like ever since that suspension, he's just been terrible. He hasn't been good ever since.
They're testing him like crazy. They're keeping him up. That's it.
It's brutal. Maybe he's sleeping too much. Maybe that's the issue.
Yeah, he's not as party hardy anymore.
No, I don't know. He needs to go. Like that's it. He was a problem in this series.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't very good from their top guys. Backstrom wasn't good either. Backstrom looked old.
They didn't look together. This wasn't a Washington team that came in absolutely steaming hot. And even Ovechkin, man, he was laying some big hits for sure, but he didn't look like an Ovechkin that was ready for a big playoff run.
No.
Like you said, like he was yelling at his goalie.
Which is something they weren't ready. They weren't together as a team. They weren't ready to go, and it showed. They were bad. Now the other side of that is the Islanders and Penguins, and that is a fucking war right now.
I think we said that was going to be a war.
We were dead on with that one because it's been a war for 4 straight games, and I still to this day can't tell you who's going to win that series because nobody's taking it right now.
What goalie is going to be there?
Who's the hottest goalie on the night is who wins the game. It's nuts.
Yeah, those teams are so equally matched, man. You could see the Islanders just sit back, take 5 to 6 shots in a row, and then break out and absolutely score one, and then momentum's gone, right? And then it's all of a sudden Pittsburgh comes back, scores 2-3
right away too. It's not like they give much of a chance. It's nuts. It's such a good series in that one.
I'm so happy that those teams have gotten together.
Yeah,
it's
great.
That being that battle tested could prove to be a lot for whatever team makes it out of there.
It's going to be tough because they're now going against a Boston team that's going to have like 6 days off.
Yeah, but you know what, man, dude? If Winnipeg were to sweep tonight, so they're for game 4, we're only at game 3.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. Like
Toronto has to play at least
5 minimum.
They have to play at least 3 more.
Right.
Even if they win all 3, they have to play at least 3 more. 2 of them are back to back. So
off tonight.
Yeah, we have at least 4 more days before this series might be over.
You know what? This may jinx it, but I'm calling it right now. Winnipeg is going to take out the Edmonton Oilers.
I don't know if that's much of a jinx, honestly.
It's not a jinx.
I would not be that surprised.
I mean, going to do it.
Whether or not they sweep them, who knows? But
it's going to be a sweep. They're taking. By the time you release this, they'll be out.
All right, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
But that even if they go 5, like there's still going to be a gap in between the end of those 2 series. It's tough, especially when you have Winnipeg, who's got Hellebuck playing at the top of his game, other than game 3. It's going to be tough for whoever comes out of this Leafs Montreal series. Go Habs.
Hellebuck just there were some shots that some rebounds he gave up.
Last game he wasn't
subtle goals. Yeah,
he was looked a little more human.
Goals were really easy, so
yeah. What else did I want to talk about? What other series was it? Oh, Tampa, Florida. Tampa's not that good. You know who's that good? Andre Vasilevsky.
Oh my goodness, is he ever?
The team's just built like every other good team in the NHL.
Well,
they have a lot of flaws.
Kucherov was also becoming so good that they Adam Banksed him.
Yeah, dude.
You know, they slashed.
I would just like to say Mikhail Sergachev kind of earned what happened to him.
Right.
Like, you're going to run around and do a lot of stupid things, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And like, that's kind of what happened to Mikhail Sergachev.
Okay. But even still, like,
that play on Kuch was a bit scummy. I don't like that out of Duclair. But Duclair's been run a couple times in this series, so I get where the frustration is, and he plays that type of game where he's going to go and do something.
That's for the refs to figure out. Man, you can't be.
This is 100% the refs' fault.
Depending on how many are out, but then even the league can step in, right? They've shown that they're going to stop 5K.
Hey, you know who could have stopped this? George fucking Parros.
You know who's not going to stop it?
George Parros. Because he's busy giving Nazem Kadri 8 games and nobody else anything. It's great. Good job, George.
He did give Archibald
did get one
suspension for clipping. Yep.
He did give Shea Weber a $5,000 fine. Honestly, I thought it might have been for the slash on Pierre Engvall. That would have made sense. That was dirty.
No, it was
shit.
For the cross check
on
Wayne Simmons. Yeah. If you see it, it's real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the slash on Engvall was worse. Like, it's the end of the game and he straight up two hands him in the back of the legs.
I mean, the issue is that you can't give out 10K.
Yeah, I guess. Can you do 2 separate fines? Can you get fined for 2 incidents?
No, I don't think so.
So he was going to fine either way.
I would love to see it. I would hope so, but I don't believe so.
No. Am I missing? I'm missing series. That Florida one's close. I think if Andre Vasilevsky doesn't exist, I think Florida's winning the series.
The most exciting series in Carolina, Nashville.
I don't even know if we can call it. I thought it was a wash after 2 games. I'm like, Carolina's got this in the bag. It's another Colorado series. And then Nashville just decided, hey, we're better in double OT than we are in any other period. Let's just get to those a couple times.
Do not go to overtime with this team because
they'll win it.
Lose.
Yeah, it's crazy. Help that they were at home. I think their home crowd is a big advantage.
The thing is on fire.
I think that might be
electric.
As much as I gave it to Carolina in 5, and now I'm done. I think it may be Carolina's home ice advantage that gets them out of that one because they just look like a different team.
But then it's gonna. I think I said in 7, so I'd get the.
You said Nashville in 6.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, then they're taking.
So you need 2 straight out of Nashville, but
you know what?
We'll see. It's a good series. It's a shockingly good series. I didn't think it'd end up being that tight. Yeah. I think that's it for the NHL, right?
I mean, I think so.
I would like to talk about Cadre suspension. We kind of brushed over it. What do you think of the Cadre suspension?
I think it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It needs to happen. He's making a name. Like we've said, he's somebody who's not only had suspensions, but suspensions in the playoffs. It's something that they're really trying to get rid of. You know, I understand if you see the play develop, he looks at Falk and he knows, he tells himself right away, if this thing gets dropped back, I'm going. And he almost just goes in autopilot there. And
the blinders came on. You could see it.
He gets to the spot way sooner than Falk does. And he jumps up a bit, like to deliver a big hit. You know, he's looking for a big hit because he's not a huge guy.
So unnecessary.
But he's not looking at his head. Yeah. And he's not even looking at him, which makes it a dangerous play. Right. So 8 games is a lot of games, but it's the right call for the player and for the incident. He got 5 last year, though. Did
he
not? So
2
that's
years
where
ago,
2 years ago. Sorry. So
it's one of those things that it's just like, don't let the fact that they butchered a lot of other calls distract you from the fact that this was absolutely deserved from Nazem Kadri. I think you don't look at, they screwed up the Nazem Kadri when you look at the fact that they screwed up 6 other incidents just before this. It's the right call, but it's not from George Parros.
You're asking 2 refs. I don't understand why the linesmen also aren't able to call some things, because this game is so much faster and there's so many things going on that the refs just aren't able to see because they're required to look at so many different things in real time.
How many times do you see stuff happen in front of a ref, but the ref's looking the other way and it doesn't?
Or how many times have you seen stuff happen in front of linesmen and all they can do is try to break it up, or just tell someone about it.
Like, behind the play, both refs are not looking. And
I think that it deserves now that just 3 to 4 refs is not ridiculous, right? If there are linesmen who are also responsible for some things, and then there's referees who are responsible for something, that's it. It's not going to change our game drastically. It's going to make it safer, if anything.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with you. I think you're right. I think that's it in the NHL. A bunch of games today. Should be entertaining. Could see 3 series end tonight, so that's kind of cool.
Get ready for the Leafs win.
Yeah. Go Habs. Carey Price, you beautiful man. Keep making saves. Keep doing your job. Thank you. The MLB. This is kind of old news now, but I'm still fuming over it, so I want to talk about it. Yermin Mercedes. Great guy. Good hitter. A lot of fun. Big unit. Great guy. Love that guy. He hit a home run against one of our personal favorite players in the league, La Tortuga, Williams Astudillo, who was pitching for the second time this year. Position player pitching, I might add. He had a 3-0 pitch that he sent in an absolute meatball upstairs to Yermin Mercedes. Yermin Mercedes, the best hitter in the league right now in terms of average. Sent him a meatball. Yermin Mercedes proceeded to launch that thing 700 feet that way. And that's great. You hit a home run. It's like a 15-3 game or something like that. It wasn't close. Ridiculous. It wasn't close.
No.
Yermin to demolish the pitch. Whatever. You want to put in a position player, you're going to have to pay the price of it. Get the game over with. Use your reliever. Get the game over with. Tony LaRussa and I have very different views on this. Tony LaRussa, I might add, is Yermin Mercedes' manager. He came out the next day and bashed Yermin Mercedes for it. Straight up came out and said, like, oh, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. There was a take. Bullshit, there was a take. Don't give me that. The take sign was there. It's classless. You can't be doing that. There should be consequences. You're literally telling the other team to throw at your guy. Fuck you. Done with that.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't defend him is interesting. You know, it wasn't dealt with behind closed doors, which I'm not.
Oh my God. It shouldn't even be dealt with.
I mean,
I don't give a shit if you call a take right now. You want to send me a meatball? I'm doing this for my own paycheck. I don't give a shit about this other team and making this position player feel good by striking me out. Fuck that.
Back on the year, you're not going to remember the situation that he got the home run, and you're just going to remember
the number.
Stat of the
number.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
He has 25 home runs because he hit the 25th off of Williams Astudillo, it's not going to matter. Like, get out of here with that nonsense. I don't care about your 78-year-old ass bitching about how there should have been a take sign. Fuck off. Like, this isn't the 60s anymore, man. Like, you don't deserve a job. Like, it's a joke. Then the next day he gets thrown at. But the Twins, fine. You want to do that? That's fine. I think you're soft for it. But they throw at him. He got suspended for it. What does Tony LaRussa do? He goes out and says he has no problem with it. Like, come the fuck on with this. Like, you're literally saying, yeah, throw at my guys. It's whatever. I don't care. What was his name? Lance Lynn comes out and says, well, yeah, you want to put a position player in there, then you're going to get lit up. It happens. Tony LaRussa literally says about Lance Lynn, well, he's a player, or he has a locker, and I have an office. So whatever.
Yeah, those
like, what the fuck is your problem?
You know that he's that way, right? There was no shock that Tony LaRussa gave that answer.
Buddy, get out of the game. You're useless. Your time has come. Go put your car into a fucking building, you piece of shit. You hear about his whole, his DUI and all that stupid shit? Yeah. He has to take a breathalyzer to drive a goddamn golf cart around spring training.
You definitely heard it.
Oh, he should have to take a breathalyzer in order to do interviews at this point. Like, you are garbage. Trash. The fun police back at it.
Driving himself.
Good Lord. This league is just, it's so brutal. There's like people that make sense, like Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer loved it, which is great. That's how everybody should act, is Trevor Bauer in that situation.
Trevor Bauer is back to being
he's a pain in the ass.
Absolutely.
But it's so much fun. I'd so much rather see that than 80-year-old Tony LaRussa going, yeah, good take. Like, get out of here.
I wish was a better hitter is Derek Dietrich. I wish he was way better in the game, because then he'd be able to have some of the funniest moments guaranteed.
I don't understand why Tony LaRussa is the manager of that team. There's so many guys in that team that are fun and like enjoy the game, enjoy this game. Like, you have Tim Anderson there. Tim Anderson's great. I love Tim Anderson. What's his name? Abreu's great. Eloy's great when he's there. Obviously, Yermin is fantastic. I love that man. And then you have this shriveled old alcoholic running the team that hasn't been relevant since he won.
I love watching Moncada play.
Yohan too. Thank you. I forgot about Yohan.
Real good, yeah.
Like, they're just a great team, and you have this alcoholic raisin just sitting there and bitching about everything. Like, just quit, man. Like, you don't want the job, just quit. God damn, so brutal. The Blue Jays break my goddamn heart. They lost their 6th in a row today.
Oh God.
they're not even playing bad. I don't know what to tell you. Like they went against the second best team in the AL right now, and then the red hot Rays.
Games. Yeah, they're going deep into games, and we know that this would kind of happen against the Rays because it's the best pitching against
our bullpen's in half. Like, what are we gonna do?
But we are the best hitting team going up against the best pitching team, and it showed what happens when you go deep, and like they had clutch hits. Like Vlad crushed it in the 9th, Simeon in the 10th. And then the 11th, it wasn't even close. They still got a run in the 11th, in the bottom of the 11th, but it was 14-8. It was already 2 gone.
That was the closest 6-run game I've ever seen.
Right.
Like, it was insane. But, like, this whole series, man, even the last series, they could have won that game against Boston. They blew it in the 9th. They should have won the first 3 games of this Rays series, and they blew all 3 of them. Like, it hurts, the fact that they lost the Rays this many times. And the Red Sox, and like they could be in a way better spot positionally, but it just as easily could have went the other way, and we could have won 6 in a row here, but it didn't, obviously. So here we are, reeling a little bit. I think people need to calm down. I've seen a lot of fire Charlie Montoyo talks. You guys are a season behind. Welcome to the train. But Charlie Montoyo's not the problem right now. Like, he's doing everything he can. The bullpen just isn't getting it done.
Yeah, from what I saw today, like the bullpen, especially coming into the 10th, I thought Romano should have got another inning. I know like that he can't, like, but at this point, man, like
I get when people use that argument, like
going on, this is where you kind of test it then.
Yeah.
You say, like, especially because what happened afterwards, their bullpen just completely, like, off of Tim Meza, I get it. That was a bit of a fluky hit, the first run he gave up. It was out of the zone and it was low, and he just kind of threw a bat. I forget which Ray player it was, but he threw a bat to it, and that just kind of, it was unfolding from there.
Yep.
But there was other players before that just didn't even get in the zone and weren't challenging any of these Rays players, and they were just hitting one after another, the same way that the Jays kind of do it.
I don't disagree. I don't think that was the mistake he made with Romano. I think the mistake he made was not letting Strip go one more. I think Strip earned one more because he was only at like 70 pitches.
But we've also said that Strip shouldn't be probably part of
starting,
this team
but no, I love Strip out of the bullpen right now. What he can do there, phenomenal. Sure. And he was fantastic today. He was unhittable today. He
was also at what, like 80 pitches, let's say 70, like
70s. He was mid 70s. So like you have what he's got more in him. He's a starter. He's stretched out to start. They could have gone one more
because when you do, like he tends to.
But your options are Strip, who's dealing, or you have to use Castro and Payamps and who else?
Meza absolutely missing everything. Like
I like Payamps, but he's gonna have these. He's gonna have these days. Like it happens.
It could have been a soccer net back there. I'm not even sure he would have been able to hit it.
So yeah, today, like, there's really not much he could have done today. Like Montoyo, there's not much else he could have done.
No, that's not on him.
What are you gonna do? Your pitchers just couldn't pitch today. Yesterday, you had your best reliever in the best chance to win in Tyler Chatwood. He's been your best reliever all year long, and he didn't pitch well. That's not Charlie Montoyo's fault. He did the best job he could. He lined it up so that Chatwood would be in there. Obviously, Romano wasn't available. Like, everyone's like, oh, they should have played Romano after Chatwood, got them out of it. But he'd already pitched 2 days in a row. I don't think Romano's available to him, or he would have used him. He's not that dumb. And then, like, everything else, it's like, what do you want, man? Like, they gave up a 2-run shot to JD Martinez in that game, I think it was.
They also missed some clutch moments in this game too, right? Like, to be fair, Vlad was up with a runner in scoring position in the 10th.
He could have won it. He could have won in the 10th.
Oscar came up too, and it was tough to see because that's the part of the order that you expect to do it. I know that they are already hit, like Vlad was already a 2-home run game.
Yeah, right? I mean, you can't blame Vlad for not getting his 3rd home run of the day, but like, absolutely. It's possible.
At that point, though, you almost need it because it doesn't matter what happened in the game before. You were in the bottom of the 10th in a close game where you can win it because you have momentum, right? Everything before doesn't matter because it's like, okay, you need to win it because this is what you're signed for. These are the moments, and we apologize that it came because you've already hit 2 before, but now it's like, you're almost double the expectation.
Yeah.
Because you've done it twice before. You're seeing the ball that well.
Yeah. The only mistake I think Montoyo has made in the last week, there was a situation where Santiago Espinal was bunting in extra innings in that game where they ended up losing. He bunted with 2 strikes. I think they need to get away from that because, like, if it doesn't work 2 in a row, swing away, man. Like, who cares? Maybe you'll hit it on the ground and do exactly what you meant to do anyways. I hate bunting for a strikeout.
Yeah, they're very confident in their game, and it's not
there.
not
They don't have
consistently
it.
there, right?
It's the third time a guy has struck out on a bunt this year.
It's taking away from some big opportunities.
I don't like that decision. Outside of that, you can't blame Montoyo for these 6 losses, man. Like the guys didn't pitch. He put the right guy in every situation. The Dolis situation where they were up 2 in the 9th. He was the one that went to extras. Like Dolis went in there, and Dolis was the best guy for the job at the time. Chatwood had already pitched. Romano had already pitched. So Dolis is your guy. He's your 9th inning guy. You put him in there. He didn't have it that day. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
The best closers in the game. We know that he's not one of the best high leverage guys in the Major League Baseball. Like we understand that, and this is the showing of it, right? You're going to have great games, and then you're going to have games where he just blows it. And that's
if you're going to use hindsight as a reason to talk to me about why Charlie Montoyo doesn't deserve to manage this team, then you have no idea what you're talking about. Because you can look back and go, yeah, if we would have just let Chatwood pitch 2 and then Romano pitch 2, we would have got out of this. Fine. But that was not a thing at the time. That doesn't make sense in a baseball situation ever. Today, Jordan Romano goes in there, pitches 1 inning. That's his job. You have guys that can pitch the next inning. It doesn't make sense as a baseball move to let Romano go another inning. In hindsight, you can go, yeah, well, if you would have left Romano in, you would have won. Sure. If Ryu would have pitched every day, you'd have a good chance every day too. But that's not a thing. It's one of those things you got to manage. And I think he's made the right decisions. Guys just haven't executed. It's not his fault that they're giving up runs.
He's not the one out there.
And I'm not a fan. I don't like Charlie Montoyo. That's clear. I think we've had this discussion numerous times.
We have constantly.
A lot. I don't think he's a good manager.
Run him out of town.
All of last year, I talked about how bad he was, but it's for different reasons than what's going on right now. And what's going on right now isn't his fault. It's hilarious. There is positive with the Blue Jays. Welcome back to our weekly segment of Vladimir Guerrero talk. This week in baseball, the best hitter in baseball is now currently sitting tied for second in RBIs, tied for first in home runs. What else? Tied for first in wins above replacement. Tied for first, I think, or outright in first in OPS, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, tied for first now. He's an unbelievable baseball player. He is the MVP of this year. As long as he stays healthy and doesn't get hurt, he's the MVP of the season. Don't talk to me about Shohei Ohtani. That team is dog shit. What's he valued right there? He'll take them from last to second last. Is that what he's doing? Don't give me that. Vladimir Guerrero is the MVP of this season, and it's only May. If he continues to do what he does, and he will, because that's what he's got going on right now, Vladimir Guerrero will be the MVP of this league.
They haven't even seen some of the worst teams in this league yet, right?
He's doing it against some of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, and that's positive to see, and you know that he's going to continue, right? That's where you love coming, your mouth starts to get all like, especially
your mouth is watering.
He is
for this.
Ready. Did you not see him when he got up there in the bottom of the 8th? Like that thing, as soon as it went down the middle, it wasn't everyone, like for a second, I was like, oh, he's going to be late. And then he was just through it. And it was like, okay, he's there. Like he's seeing it. I have nothing but trust.
Unbelievable. He's been so good.
But which is why when he came up to the 10th, it's like, this is where
we're winning this. Like I genuinely thought we were winning it.
And then especially Teoscar coming up behind him. I was like, okay, one of you two is going to figure it out.
They're both so hot right now. Mm-hmm. But Vladimir Guerrero is just all around better than pretty much everybody else in the league right now. Mm-hmm. I don't feel this confidence. Like you can talk to me about Shohei Ohtani and how he does both, and he's pitching good. He's not elite as a pitcher.
He's focusing. That too. I understand that he's focusing on 2 positions still, but
outside of that, he's not all that special offensively.
He's hitting the ball really well.
He's hitting the ball out of the yard, and that's it. He's not doing anything else with it. His average is terrible. He doesn't get on base all that much.
A lot of it
he just hits it hard.
Is team success as well. Right. Who's contributing more to their team success?
His team sucks.
Yeah, I get it that they're 20 and 27. They're last in that division, which hurts my prediction of them being first in that division.
Mike Trout is the best baseball player in MLB history. The guy has what?
And
2
right now
MVPs?
Right now he's not even the most favorite on his team.
He's got what? 2 MVPs? Well, he's hurt, so he's done for a while.
Right.
He's got 2 MVPs in his career, or 3, I think. Either way, he hasn't won the MVP every year because his team stinks and they don't make the playoffs. So if Shohei Ohtani's team doesn't make the playoffs, and they're not getting any better. What argument do you have? At least the Jays look way better than they did last year. What's this?
Just three
in
2014,
2016,
2016, 2019.
Yeah. It's just, don't talk to me about Shohei Ohtani versus Vlad, because Vlad's numbers blow Shohei Ohtani out of the water. Yes, he can pitch. He's an above average pitcher. He's not that great. We'll see. Long season ahead of them. Anything can happen to both of them. But Vladimir Guerrero is your AL MVP.
You don't need to defend your boy. He's doing it himself.
No, exactly.
Hitting 331.
I figured this season I might have to, because I came out early and I'm like, Vlad might win the MVP this year.
No, this is not your Luke Voigt prediction.
And
this is something that's way better.
He's out there like, you're damn right I'm going to win the MVP. Yeah. Look at me go. I love that kid. I love him everywhere. I love him on the field. I love him off the field. I love him in the bench. I love him everywhere. That guy's just a phenomenal guy. He's so fun. He brings so much life to the game. He's great. He's got a handshake with everybody and every fan and every other team player. It just doesn't matter.
Impressive part.
He remembers 400 handshakes a day. It's crazy.
That's the greatest part about baseball.
It's unbelievable.
All their handshakes, they remember.
It's unbelievable watching him walk down the dugout and just like new handshake with every single person. I'm like, dude, you're impressive. And then he goes out and rakes.
He's impressive.
Vlad Guerrero, MVP. Book.
I messaged you today on any of the jerseys.
Oh, I already ordered mine a while ago. It's just coming on in, so we're getting it.
Right.
I think that is it. You know what? Julio Jones, if we want to talk a little bit of football. Julio Jones was on, is it Uninterrupted? I don't even know.
There's a couple things about football that I'd like to mention.
All right, if you got a couple more, Yeah. Julio Jones wasn't even on a show. It was the one with Shannon Sharp and that other idiot, Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
I knew his name. I just wanted to say it. Shannon Sharp calls him in the middle of the TV show and puts him on speaker and like basically baited him into saying that like he's not going back to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. That's a scumbag move from Shannon Sharp. I don't like that. You call him off the show and like if he says it, he says it. But at least at that point it's rumors and it's not like completely outing Julio Jones as a scumbag.
Yeah, you don't need to out him.
I don't like that.
He's still a member of the organization. Right?
I don't like that one bit because it didn't like he's like, hey, we're here on the show. Like he just straight up like, hey, what's going on? And that was like a regular phone call, right? Mm-hmm. I don't like that. But he did it, and he said he's not going back. Is basically what he said. I think that's interesting. I think that's expected. This is somebody who's a competitor. This is somebody who is that close. He wants to win.
Like, dude, the Super Bowl loss was not his fault at all. His catches would have been all of the highlights had it not been for a couple of the events that occurred, right? The strip sack, the Julian Edelman catch, and the overtime would not be the highlights. Because Julio Jones made 300 to 800 incredible catches that game. That should have been the highlights. Yeah. Right. So, but he wants out, and I think he wants to go to a team that's going to compete now. Right. Atlanta hasn't really done too much to change up the defensive side. Right. They are horrible on defense. Their offense is exciting.
They're not a good team. I get why he wants out, but I don't like what Shannon Sharp did there. I don't like that. What do you got in football?
Tim Tebow. I don't know if you mentioned that.
He's going to be a tight end in the Jags. He won't make it, but at least he's trying. And someone wrote an article today about how like he doesn't deserve this chance. I'm like,
he'll absolutely make it because now Jacksonville is drawing some more attention to their team, especially with Trevor Lawrence going to start.
I hope he succeeds. This article that came out in The Athletic, I don't even remember who it was by, but it was something Lombardi. But he was talking about how like there's other guys he's taking a shot from, and like this is such a risky move for no reason. I'm like, where's the risk here? You sign him for like a 1-year deal. If he's good, he's good. If he's not, you let him go. Who cares?
Exactly.
Maybe he works. The guy said he's not he's not an elite athlete or he's not an elite talent. I'm like, this guy won a Heisman.
There's no risk in football for contracts. You can cut anybody and lose everybody and trade it. Like it doesn't matter.
Like what high end tight end are you missing out on right now that like you could have given this guy a chance instead? Like fucking cares? Tim Tebow's earned a shot. Tim Tebow's a great human being. He's earned that shot. I'd rather him than someone that beats his wife. Like he's earned a shot back in the league more than Kareem Hunt did, and Kareem Hunt's still there. Yep. Like, come on, man. Like, that's just a bad take.
Yeah. I think the most important thing for me is that Aaron Rodgers is not in attendance for any Packers OTAs.
He showed up for OTAs today.
Did he?
Yeah, today. He might have missed a couple, but he showed up today, I heard. I'll double check. But last I checked, the headline popped up and said he was at OTAs. Maybe I'm wrong.
I heard he was not.
let's do some deep dive here.
Which is
Aaron Rodgers.
really interesting.
Oh, you're right. He no-showed today.
Yeah. That I
I heard
think
he did.
is tough. That's a statement, you know?
He wants out. I think that's
you need to just let it happen now. You know, this is somebody who's not going to show up. He doesn't care. He's considered retirement, right? What more does he have to prove realistically?
What do the Packers need?
What do you mean? What are the Packers?
What on that team? What do you think they need? I would say wide receivers, right?
Oh, I don't know, man. They've got some Devontae.
They got
Adams
one.
is
That's it. They
really
got Devontae,
good.
but they could use some depth wide receiver.
They could. Why you think that they should go to Atlanta? They're not going to Atlanta.
I don't think Atlanta needs Aaron Rodgers, but they don't want Matty Ice.
Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. No, Aaron Rodgers wants to go
they could easily move Matty Ice for literally anything else. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers in there right now.
Why would you want to go to Atlanta? If you don't want to,
he doesn't have a choice. It's not his decision.
He does have a choice. He's a football player. Everyone has a choice. If Eli Manning can pout his way from getting drafted to the Chargers,
he doesn't have a choice where he gets traded, though. Especially if you're going to be a baby about it. Like, they'll just trade him wherever they want. And if they get Julio Jones out of it,
they're never going to.
Two disgruntled stars. It's like the line for Dubois.
No, that's not the way football works.
That is an elite trade for the Packers. They can pull out.
That is not the way.
Because you have Jordan Love ready to go with Devontae and Julio. That'd be sick.
I'm so sorry to break your heart, but football works in a whole.
Oh, I don't want them to do it. I want him to come here.
They never will.
I want him to be in Carolina.
They never will.
That'll never happen either. But I think it would be fun to watch. I think it'd be fun to see the Julio.
What do you want?
Julio
what have you been on tonight? If you were saying,
I am on happiness and
you will not go to Carolina.
Ready to
you
go.
Guys have put
absolutely not
in the Sam Darnold.
I don't know why we're doing it. They didn't even draft what's his nuts Fields.
Nope.
They just decided Sam Darnold's the guy for the future, and that was it.
They did the same thing they always do and went defense first and said we're going to figure out our offense, except for Cam Newton, I guess. You know,
they were
Christian
in
McCaffrey,
on.
We've said that before. They
were in on Deshaun Watson, which I find it weird that they wouldn't just in turn try and be in on Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe it's does that not make sense? It's going to be a steeper price, though.
I don't think so. Now, but I think back when the news broke about Deshaun Watson, I think he was the biggest fish in the table. It was you were giving up 4 firsts for this guy and prospects. Now it's kind of Aaron Rodgers is old.
You're giving up nothing.
Deshaun Watson's 24.
I don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to be able to play.
Well, now it's a little different. Now I think you have to give up a couple fifths because he might not play anymore.
Right. You may never get actually.
Deshaun you may never. Watson he may never play for your team. But at the peak of their value, Deshaun Watson was worth way more. And that's when they were in. Is when he was first rumored to be traded. They were like, oh, we're interested.
I think it's interesting that San Francisco has not made a call. I know that they have Trey Lance for sure, who
I think that's
come in and change things. But if you also have the ability to go to Green Bay and swing a Jimmy Garoppolo for an Aaron Rodgers and let those two quarterbacks compete out, if you're already going into a quarterback competition, why would you not make it the best quarterback?
I think they're ready to win this year too.
But Trey Lance does not get you there. Trey Lance does not get you to win this year.
No, I think
that's we're figuring it out again. You know what happens though? Aaron Rodgers has the potential to get you there, especially with George Kittle being the way that George Kittle is. And Aaron Rodgers has made tight end careers for years.
Yeah, I agree. Years. I think that would be a perfect home for him.
Yes.
I think they're kind of looking at the whole Trey Lance thing going, well, we have our guy, but realistically, I think they could be a Super Bowl team if they had a guy that could actually play right now.
Yeah.
I think you're right. There's a couple places that would make sense. Carolina's not one of them, but I would love to see him go there. Fuck, I just need something. Give me something. I am the Drake Curse. We're full circle. I'm the goddamn Drake Curse.
Defense. It'll just be defense. The whole
Nothing. Someone tweeted out today, and I never really thought of it. They're just how many championships have you seen from your teams in your lifetime? And I'm I know you've seen a bunch because the Patriots and the Blackhawks, so that makes sense. But I'm I've seen
Raptors as well.
Yeah, I'm not a Raptors fan, so I didn't count them. So you that makes sense for you. I'm I've seen 0. I was born after 93, so I never saw a Blue Jays win. Obviously, I was born after 67. I've never seen the Leafs win. I've seen the Panthers make the Super Bowl one time, and they lost. So, I've never seen shit. I'm not a basketball fan. I don't claim a team in basketball because I'm just not a fan.
Wow. Right.
That's it.
Your time is coming around, okay?
I hope that one day I can celebrate something.
The Leafs, man, they could be this year, okay?
Maybe the Jays next year.
Keep your hopes up high.
Very high. Thank you for listening. As always, follow us at the BnB pod _ on Twitter and Instagram and on TikTok at the BnB podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff down below.
Support.
Check out our merch and more content at theasports.com. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You sold it.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the BnB podcast. We will catch you at the end of this week. I think it's Monday today, right? Yeah. Happy Victoria Day, Canadians.
Happy Victoria.
Forgot about that. We'll catch you at the end of the week. Cheers.